Hey, Jim Zaspel here again with another super duper awesome training video for you to help you make more money in your business. Jim Zaspel here from jimzaspel.com. If you get value from this video and or others, then obviously I'd super duper appreciate it if you share it around and click the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest buttons, whatever it is, and share it around. All right, so here's a question for you. Have you ever been stressed out by what an employee, subcontractor, or contractor, or professional vendor did? I'm guessing the answer is yes, right? Maybe your granite was late and you had to list your house a week later. Maybe your realtor jumped the ball. Maybe your contractor was slacking off. Maybe they walked off the job. Maybe your employee quit. Maybe you had to fire the employee. Whatever it is, right? People are people. And I'm a people person. I love people. If I can work by myself in a little, office or out in public, I typically like to work out in public. Unless I'm shooting a video, then I like to be on my back deck doing a blog video, as you can see. That way it's less noisy for you. And the barking dog went inside if you saw one the other day. All right, so anyway, how do you prevent the stress? Because stress is killer, man. It inhibits your creative thinking. You can't think as well. You're not as productive, and it probably is going to carry into your marriage and family and make you an absolute jerk to live with, right? So how do you avoid being a jerk to live with, I guess, should be the right topic, right headline for this blog. But anyway, I'm just going to walk you through kind of a story. And if you have been around me much at all, you probably already know that I'm a huge fan of 100% responsibility, meaning you take 100% responsibility for the results that you're trying to effect in your life and in your business. Okay, so it's if you're genetically inclined to be overweight, it is 100% your responsibility if you are overweight or not. Right? If you are trying to, when I got started in this business, my first rehab I ever did, I lost about $20,000 on it. Why? I could say it was because the contractor took my money and ran. He was dead broke, and he was a jerk, and the wholesaler sold me the house for too much money. I could say that. Or I could say I was irresponsible, paid too much for the property, paid my contractor too much money too soon, and didn't closely manage him enough, and therefore the deal went south, and it is my fault and my fault only. Gosh, that's a hard one to swallow. What's funny is for a few years, I blamed it on the other people in that deal, finally let go and realized it was 100% my fault. And then what I realized was, hey, if it was my fault that it happened, then I can just adjust what I do and have more confidence in doing deals in the future. And here's what I realized, is that anytime, and we've got a lot of contractors that work for us, we have a lot of private lenders, we have a lot of, few different realtors that work with us, only one that's outside the office, my wife being our primary agent. There's a lot of employees, not a lot, several employees, less than 10, more than 5, and it tends to change a little bit once in a while, it goes up and down, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, I realized that why are these contractors stressing me out sometimes? Why is this person, this vendor, stressing me out? And you know why? It's because I've given that person too much control over my life and my business. And when they let me down, it's not the fact that they let me down that stresses me out. It's the result, what happens as a result of them letting me down, right? I expect the best out of everybody that I work with, and I'm sure they're all great human beings, but sometimes people screw up. Sometimes they screw up temporarily. They've got stuff going on in their life. Doesn't make them a bad person. Doesn't mean I'm not going to work with them again in the future. But what I realize is the stress, if I say, oh man, this person's dropping the ball, and it's stressing me out, it's causing whatever havoc in the business, and I just leave it there, guess what? I left that control with them. And the only reason that you're ever stressed out a vendor, contractor, or employee is because you've given that person too much control. So, you probably heard it said, the worst number in business is one. One employee, one contractor, one private lender, one realtor, one kitchen supplier, one everything, right? The worst number in business is one. And if you find a contractor that stressed you out, or a vendor that stressed you out, or a private lender because they decided not to reinvest, or because they wanted more money for interest, or whatever the case may be, if you had somebody else lined up that was good to take their spot It might be an inconvenience, but man, think about the position that puts you in. So let's just take contractors for a second, right? Let's say his quote comes in, 10% higher than it should have on a deal, right? And you're like, dude, why? He's like, oh, we're just so busy. That's kind of the price. The best I can do. Can't work with you on it. Well, maybe you've already bought the property or put up a big deposit to buy the property. And if that were your only good contract, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I just, it was an $80,000 rehab turned into 88 right off the bat. It's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This is crazy, blah, blah. Well, then you could think, well, what if you had another contractor you could call that wasn't going to treat you that way? Well, that would reduce your stress level significantly. And you can see how having multiple people for different positions and not giving that person control really reduces your stress level. And by the way, the same thing goes for employees. Now, that doesn't mean that every single employee gives, or that I've got at least two employees doing every single position. That just kind of be redundant or not at the size that commands that. However, every single person's position is documented. Some better than others, but we're always making progress. I'm always asking myself as the owner, saying, if this person, decided to go on a world missions tour for the next 10 years and never came back to the office, right? Today, how could I have somebody else in tomorrow and be just about as effective in their position? And that requires, a lot of procedures and training videos so that you don't have to retrain people. And that kind of accountability really lights a fire under your employees' behind. It's pretty good. And also, not doing that, it's just irresponsible as a business owner. If you've got people who are relying on you for your livelihood, not running your business like that is irresponsible. And not to mention, just makes your life unnecessarily stressful. So hopefully this helps you out. Again, if you got value out of it, share it around on social media, Facebook, etc. Stay tuned for more awesome training videos from me, yours truly, Jim Zaspel. See you next time.